at Connect Your Dots. It's Brandon Lee, and I'm coming to you on Wednesday, November 25th. It is the day before Thanksgiving here in the United States, and admittedly, I'm going a little bit early than we were expected to go, but I have two really good reasons for doing so. Number one is I've got some stuff to do to help out with the family. But number two is, and hopefully y'all forgive me for this, is today is our oldest daughter Maddie's 21st birthday, and actually it was yesterday, but she is coming home from college today, and so we are going to celebrate, give it a big whoop whoop, and celebrate her 21st birthday. And we are so excited for it. Hey, as we are moving into this, a couple of things as you're watching, whether you're watching the video or you are the replay or you're watching it live, I'd love to know who's here. I'm asking you to do a couple of things. I'd love to, if you like what you're hearing, you're gaining something from it, you know people that would gain from it, please invite them here to the Facebook page, to the group, and let them join us. The more in the community, the better. The second thing, I'm going to put the link down here. I'm getting it. Go to dots.brandonlee.me, and that is the link to the podcast. And you can get links there to watch on whatever your favorite podcast player is, Spotify, Deezer, all of that. All the links are there. If you like what you're hearing, you want to take me on the go do it right there. Okay, so we're going to get into, I titled this Overcoming and Starting Over. And but this is applicable to everybody. Even if you don't feel like you've got to overcome something, you're starting over. This is just really about getting going. I wrote in the notes there that, we all want to live the life that we want. But sometimes our own behavior, our own actions, our own activity gets in the way. And I think it's time. I know it's time for me. I know it's time for you. And I wanted to come up with 4 steps. There's a lot of steps in this, and I've got a masterclass coming that you may be interested in that goes deeper in this. If you want some more tangible and get a community around you, small group masterclass that we can all do this together. But today in the Facebook group, I want to talk about 4 key areas to get moving. This is really about get momentum moving, because momentum creates momentum. So we're going to go through 4 steps. And as you know, with me, these are not magic bullets. This stuff is hard, like getting the life that we want, putting ourselves in the situations we want to be in. It takes hard work. It takes effort. It takes discipline. So these are not like, hey, follow these 4 simple steps and tomorrow you're going to have the best life possible. That's not it. And that's not my content. That's not the way I approach life. It takes work, but I think these are 4 things that all of us can consider as we are trying to move into a new season of our life. We're trying to upgrade our life, move into that 2.0 upgraded self. And these 4 steps relate to all areas of our life, you, your family, and your business. I do want to address one thing. I've had people ask, my brand, I talk about being entrepreneurship, identity, and peace. And I get some people that say, I'm not an entrepreneur. And I'd say that you are. We're all entrepreneurs of our own life. And entrepreneurship, the root of it, it really is about intentional activity. And so you are an entrepreneur of your life. You need to create intentional activities for a positive outcome. We think about entrepreneurship, about building businesses and making money and things like that. And those are great, wonderful things. But I also think that whether you're a business owner or you're employed somewhere, you have a business to run, and that business is you. And so these steps you can apply in all areas of your lives. And the reason that I talk about connecting the dots to live that upgraded life is because As you know, I'm a coach with the John Maxwell team, and one of his laws of leadership is called the law of the lid. And basically, what that means is your life is going to hit wherever that lid is on you. That lid is going to be the maximum place that you can go with you, with your family, in your business, in your job, whatever it may be. And so, as we focus on growing ourselves, we're also intentionally growing our families and our business or our jobs. So let's get into these 4 steps. Everybody ready? If you're here, tell me you're ready. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you get out of this. I'd love to hear it. And before I forget, if you're in the United States, happy Thanksgiving. I'm extremely grateful for you. I'm extremely grateful to have this opportunity to share with you my heart, my passion for the rest of my life, this next season of my life, not only building the companies that I'm a part of, but also to help people find ways, activities, systems, strategies, habits to go out and build a life that you're proud of, a life that you want to live. And I believe we can all keep getting better. And so let's get better together. Okay, you ready? Number 1 today is raise your ambition. Now, I paused right there because I know some of you are thinking ambition. I think in our culture today, the word ambition has lost its true meaning. It's lost its power. We hear a lot of things about, oh, ambition is bad. Being obsessed with something is bad. And what I think is when we need to get moving, we need to come out of a bad season. We need to figure out what we're going to do in the next season. And my gosh, 2020 has just kind of knocked us all. We've all had to adapt and change and, grow, rethink the way that we do things. We hear things like ambition and obsessions are a bad thing, but I don't think ambition is bad at all. I think that ambition, if we rethink about it, ambition is about having a fire into us. It's about going deep inside, knowing what we want to be about, knowing what we want to do, and setting a plan in place to go for it. It's okay to go deep into something you care about. And what we do know is that to get where we want to go, we have to be excellent, right? Excellence, it's like the cream that rises to the top, right? And so be ambitious, be excellent, give yourself the freedom to have that power, that fire inside of you to go deep into something that you care about, because ambition, obsession creates excellence. And I think right now in our social media world, we tend to flip, we tend to scroll, we tend to bounce from one thing to the next. We see a lot of, oh, that didn't work. One of the things as being an entrepreneur, one of the things that I find is that a lot of businesses, they don't fail. They either run out of money or they quit. Because the idea is sometimes you got to find the right audience. Sometimes you got to tweak your offering. Sometimes you got to say it differently. Sometimes you got to find a whole new audience to present your product to or your service to. So a lot of companies, they don't fail. They just stopped. So one way that we can start moving, if we're not totally focused on what exactly we want to do and who we want to be, is take a relationship and be extremely ambitious in that relationship. I've spent this year knowing that 2020 was just a curveball. I chose to intentionally focus time this year on my wife and my kids and really been ambitious in pursuing those relationships. And here's what I found is that as I've had successes and I've built momentum in those relationships, it's spilled over into other areas of my life. And my ambition is, some of you know, I started this as Living Life 2.0, changed the brand. It's called Connect Your Dots. I got my high performance coaching business going. as I've been ambitious in those relationships and had those successes and the joy and the enthusiasm that's come from it, it's poured out into other areas of my life and has raised those areas as well. So, number one is to raise your ambition. And I do have a class, I have a course that is all about ambition and clarity. And we can talk about that another time. But if you stay focused here with Connect Your Dots, you'll see when all those are being released and you can jump in there. But number one today was raise your ambition. Number two is to remember your victories. It is so important for us, especially if we hit a wall. One of my friends that I've been speaking to on here, she asked about this topic and said, she's moved to a new state. She's in a new career. She's in a new community, and she's having a hard time getting started. And so it doesn't matter if you've, like me, and parts of my life where I hit a wall, we lost everything, I had to regroup and start over, or you just find yourself in a new environment, a new world. Maybe you lost your job and you need to go into a new industry. One of the things that I found is intentionally remembering my victories. And this isn't arrogance. This is just building ourselves up. And we've got to be responsible for building ourselves back up. If we're going to, get on that proverbial horse again, right? Get back up and keep going. Get on, pick yourself up, brush off your knees, get rid of the scrapes, tend to your wounds, and keep going. We need to remember our victories. I've learned this in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is that repetition of repeating out loud to yourself. So you say it, you hear it, you feel it in your body, it creates energy, but it's reminding yourself of what you have done, where you have had successes, because you need that motivation, that encouragement to get to the next successes or get into the mode that leads you into the next successes. So number two is to remember your victories. And number three is it's very similar. It's closely related, I think, but it's remember your strengths. And as you're speaking out loud your victories, you also want to speak out loud your strengths and remind you the things that you're good at. Remind you the things that you've accomplished and why you've accomplished those. So an example for me is, we did well in a couple of businesses, and then the recession hit and we lost a lot. I felt like a failure, but I had some really good victories that I needed to remind myself of. And then I had to remind myself of the strengths that I had that got me there, the courage it took to start a company from nothing, the leadership it took to start hiring people, growing people into new roles and new positions, casting vision, making, I don't want to say pivots, but adjustments in the business, adding new products, the strengths that I had to do that. I want you to sit for a moment today and just, if you're a journaler, journal. If you're in your car, I know it feels weird. Anyone around you, you got glass, they're looking at you. They might think you're singing to the radio or something, but speak out loud your strengths and remind yourself who you are and what you're good at as a way to motivate you, encourage you to get into a new system and into this new life that you're working to build. Closely with that, and I guess I'll go 5 points today because I keep thinking about this and I want to throw it in there. I was trying to make it 3 and I moved it to 4, and here I am, of course, doing 5. But I'd also say then as number 4 is to socialize your goals. And what I mean by that is tell people your goals, right? I want to be a high performance coach and I want to be a speaker around the world. I speak Spanish, but I want to learn French and I want to learn Italian. I want to be on stage with over 1,000 people, and I want to be able to share my story, share my passion, share the things that I've learned to help people around the world. And I want to do it in multiple languages. Now, I'm telling you that as an example. That is a grand vision. That is a grand goal. I know it. But the more that I speak it, number one, I'm hearing it. Number two, I'm sharing it and I'm putting it out there. And now there's accountability. I mean, some of you may come back and say, hey, Brandon, I thought you wanted to do this. What are you doing to make that happen in your life? I go, oh, gosh, yeah, you're right. What am I doing? What am I doing to make this happen? What steps am I taking? What goals do I have in place to actually make this happen? So I want to encourage you to socialize your goals and make it so that you have a community of people around you. Now, I know a lot of you, when I say socialize your goals, tell people about your grand goals. If you ever heard the word BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goals, a couple things may come to mind like, well, what if I say it and people make fun of me? What if I say it and people go, oh, come on, you can't possibly do that? Well, let me tell you what's going to happen. The naysayers will show up. But if they're discouraging you, they're not supporting you in your goals, they're not supporting you in the dreams and passions that you have, then they're not your people. They're not going to help you get there anyway. And there's a lot of reasons why they may say it, but it doesn't really matter. Your job is for you and protecting you is to listen to the voices of encouragement, the voices of support, the places that are going to help you say, yeah, that is great goal. Go for it. How can I help you? Because the other thing that happens is the naysayers show up. Say that 10 times fast. But the other thing that happens is the supporters show up. The experts show up. The people that have gone before you that can help you get where you want to go. And what I found in my pursuits, in my life, is that when I'm ambitious, I'm sharing my goals, I'm sharing my aspirations, that there's always people around me that open doors. They'll say things like, I didn't know you wanted to do that. I know this person, or I know that person, or what about if we could do this? There's so many people that want to help. I was on a call yesterday. I was on a Zoom, the big Brady Bunch thing going on. There's about 15 people on the call. And one of the gentlemen in there said he wanted to get his book to Oprah. And he had 3 people in there that were like, hey, I don't know Oprah, but I've got a friend that works for a publishing house in New York City. I know this person. And all of a sudden, he started getting momentum and opportunities and connections because he had the courage to socialize his goal to a group of really strangers. A lot of them he didn't know. And people that he didn't know started moving. Hey, I know this person. I know that person. How can I help? So it's really important for us to build momentum by socializing our goals, saying them out loud, and our mind, our body, our energy, our soul, our spirit, the people around us, all of those energies start finding each other, and it helps us start seeing the opportunities that are in front of us. So now these 3 things have changed to 4, and the 5th one is now to pay attention to your emotions. When we're starting something new, especially when we've come from such a negative emotion like a failure or a setback or any sort of hardship, we've got to really pay attention to our emotions. Not just the negative emotions that are obviously going to come, but also to the emotions that you want. What are the feelings that you want? And we have to create them. I love this analogy. It's so motivating for me when I think about my emotions because, look, I know I'm on these videos and I'm sharing, I'm passionate, I'm excited, but I have my down days. I have my down moments. I have those times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this going to work? what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? And how am I going to pay that bill or whatever it may be? We need to fabricate, we need to create the emotions that we want. And the analogy that I love so much is that a power plant does not have power. What a power plant does is it creates power. And you need to think like a power plant. How can I create the emotions that I want and that I need to show up and do the things that I need to do to get me where I want to go? So I ask you today, what feelings do you want more of? And how can you generate those feelings? How do you create them in your life? So the 5 things that we've talked about today on overcoming, starting over, starting something is number 1, raise your ambition. Create that lofty goal. Create that obsession with something and be excellent at it, because we know when we're excellent at something, people want to know what we know. They want to hear what we have to say. They want to be a part of it. And it helps open doors for us to get to the place that we want to go. And then you've got to remember your victories. You got to remind yourself of what you've done well in the past, the successes that you've had, and celebrate those and remind yourself, it's okay to do this. It's okay to pat ourselves on the back and say, gosh, I did that well. And remember the victories, because in remembering those victories, we gain the emotional energy. We gain the encouragement and the support, the motivation, the belief, and the hope that we can do it again in this new situation. The third thing was to remember your strengths, because we got to remember what we're good at. Remember how you've done things in the past. And I can do this. I know how to create this. I know how to do this opportunity. I've interviewed before. I've done these things. Remember your strengths. Number 4 was socialize your goals. Tell people about your goals. I mean, hey, right now, if you have the courage, put it in the comments. What is your goal? What do you want to accomplish? Who do you want to be? So many good things happen when we just start shouting it from the rooftops of who we want to be, where we want to go, because the more people that know it and they go, I remember so-and-so was saying this, and then they make a connection. Socialize your goals, and all of those, I want you to remember, speak them out loud. Whether you're telling someone else, you're telling them to yourself. I know it's kind of cheesy, old like personal development, got my affirmations, and I'm going to tell myself in the mirror. The funny part about cheese is that, man, it works. So speak those words over yourself. And then the last thing is pay attention to your emotions. Know the emotions you need, know the emotions that you want, and put systems in place on how you generate those. Generate them might be music. Generate them might be reading your Bible. It might be reading, poetry or motivational quotes, or listening to podcasts, or, watching these videos on Connect Your Dots, and joining the community and hear about how other people are generating the emotions that they need to move in their lives. But make sure that you're paying attention to those emotions. Hey, as we go into the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States, it's a good time to remember, 1, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this opportunity to share this passion, this love that I have about being a high performer and being excellent and helping people move to the next level of their life. But I want to encourage you to take time to truly be grateful. Write it down. Think about it. Journal it. Tell people. Pick up your phone right now and text somebody that you're grateful for, grateful to, and share with them your gratitude. All right, everybody. I hope that this has blessed you amazingly. I hope that you've got at least one little nugget of wisdom or action step that you're going to implement. I'd love to hear what they are. Put them down in the comments. What's the one thing that you're going to take away? And as always, share this with your friends. If you want to help me in this, I want to keep growing. I want to share this passion with more people. If you know somebody that would benefit from Connect Your Dots show and the things that we talk about here, I'd be so grateful if you shared this Facebook page, or if you're listening on the podcast, share the podcast. When you take a screen capture, go post it, tag me in Instagram. It's Connect Your Dots show, and let people know that you're finding value in it and you're sharing it. I'd really appreciate it. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and go out and be excellent. All right, everybody. Have a great day.